Hey, what is up, everybody, and welcome to this week's show of the Bearded Browns podcast. We have our special guest today, Barry Shuck. You guys have seen him here before, numerous times, actually. He is from SB Nation's Dogs by Nature. You can find them on all social media. Great writer, great content. Barry, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us today, man.
I am doing well. Thanks for having me on again.
Wouldn't have it without you here, man. A big day, obviously, in the Cleveland Browns world. And some people hate everything Browns right now. And some people are just up in air about it, don't care. And I'm one of those that don't care. Barry, how are you feeling about the Amari Cooper trade to Buffalo today?
Well, before I talk about Browns, I have to be 100% prepared. So hold on just a minute.
Oh, you did it.
Yes,
you did it.
He's got a beard.
Okay,
This is amazing.
Now we can talk all you want.
Oh,
It was a complete shock that Andrew Berry traded Amari Cooper, because after all, this year, now not last year, but this year, I don't know how you keep this out of your mouth, but last year we had Amari Cooper as a playmaker and David Njoku as a playmaker, and Nick Chubb until he got hurt. But this year, really, if you look at it, Amari Cooper has been the only playmaker on this offense. We traded for Jerry Jeudy and thought that he would be, a playmaker. And he's only had one good game, and that was against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But David Njoku has been a non-element. Elijah Moore is the invisible man. And for us to trade our only playmaker, now what? Now who's gonna progress this offense?
Yeah, that's a great question, because as we talked post-game here, post-show, we talked about how Amari Cooper did 89% of the snaps so far this season. And he was a large part of our offense. A lot of passes went to him, though he dropped 10 of them. So a lot of our offense ran through him. So it'll be interesting to see who's going to fill the gap. My guess will be Jerry Jeudy would be wide receiver number one. I think catch rate, he was obviously better than Cooper at that this year, and I think he will impress people at the number one spot. I'm excited for my dude Mike's guy Thrash. I'm hoping that he comes in, because like you said, Elijah Moore has been the invisible man. That is a good name for him, because he's been non-existent. And if he does catch the ball, what happened last week is he'll get a concussion and he's out for the rest of the game, or he'll get hurt. So I'm excited to see what the Browns have with this young core of receivers.
Yeah, well, I can tell you on the depth chart, who is filling in for Amari Cooper is Cedric Tillman.
Yeah.
All they've done is just elevated him. Jamari Thrash has 0 snaps on offense this year. Zero. He's been a healthy scratch every game. I don't know. I just don't see it. Jerry Jeudy's had one good game. Ced Tillman has played only 129 snaps all year. And Elijah Moore, I don't even know why they have him on the team.
Well, you said it in the beginning of the show, Barry, before we went live. You said that, everybody's got that what do you call it? Preseason lover, and that was
darling.
Yeah, the preseason darling. That was Jamari Thrash to a lot of Cleveland, and we're wondering why he's not out there. I'm kind of wondering why he's not out there, because I favor the guy. Are they seeing something that we're not seeing at practice with him to be able to put him in, or is it because he's a rookie? By the way, James Frank says you have a luscious beard, Barry.
Yeah, I do have a luscious beard, and it matches my hair. It matches my my good tan. Anyway, and thank you for that. Well, if Thrash is not playing, and Ced Tillman is, and Elijah Moore is, then what does that tell you?
That's alarming in a way, because you would wonder is Thrash not doing that he didn't do? Because I thought he had a pretty solid preseason. I mean, I know it's against what he is in third and fourth stringer, but I thought maybe I'm thinking I thought maybe after the bye week that he would be up here, but considering that the struggles of the offensive receivers, I thought maybe it would be sooner. I'm hoping that it'll be this week, but I guess we'll have to wait and see if they
Yeah.
make any roster moves to even let that happen. Now the Tillman situation is interesting because you would think Barry wants him to do good because he wants to justify, hey, look, I chose this receiver, I picked this receiver in the draft, and he's worth keeping. So I would be interested to see what he does from this point forward because I think they're going to try to make him somewhat of the offense too. Because we know Barry's run on receivers right now is sketchy. So
Yeah.
we'll see how he pans out.
Now, if he brings back Anthony Schwartz, I'm leaving. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's bringing back
Yeah.
Schwartz. Yeah, I hope
But
not.
getting back to your point of Tillman, he had 0 catches against the Eagles. He had 0 catches against the Redskins. He had 0 catches against the Raiders. I just don't see it. He's only had 3 catches and 5 targets all year. So if he's going to fill in for Judy as wide receiver 2 on the outside, which he's an outside receiver, Moore still in the slot. Moore is just not. I didn't get it when they traded for him. I thought he had subpar numbers when they traded for him, and we gave up a second round pick.
Second round, yeah.
And he was drafted in the second round, but he's got very, very low numbers so far. He's only had 16 catches this year so far for 95 yards, 0 touchdown. They got him to be good on the jet sweeps, and he's horrible on that. They just kind of quit giving it to him because he was losing yardage every time he got the ball.
Yeah, and they gave it to Tillman. So Tillman did show himself against Philly with that jet sweep, which was an interesting call on 3rd and 1. But
and he did in Elijah Moore, right?
Yeah, he did exactly what Elijah Moore did.
Yeah. So
hey, let's not all forget that we got Kadarius Toney on this roster as well. Another guy that likes to drop the ball.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, if you look at the practice squad, we got Michael Woods on there also.
That's Chad's guy. Chad loves that guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's had his time, and he's had his time to come together. But you're right about Kadarius Toney. I remember when he was drafted. I saw him at the Senior Bowl. I covered the Senior Bowl every year, and I went back and read my notes, and they were horrible. He couldn't catch anything. If it was not right to him, he made no effort to try to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with this trade, what do you think the possibilities of something big happening in Buffalo are, considering that Josh Allen, his throwing yards really aren't that high? I think even Deshaun Watson actually has more throwing yards than Josh Allen right now. What do you think could happen out there? I mean,
good for Amari Cooper. Yeah. I mean, look, I don't think Amari Cooper's had a great quarterback to throw to him his entire career. He's had some decent guys, Dak Prescott, with the Raiders. What was it, Derek Carr?
Yeah, Derek Carr.
Is that yeah? Okay, so he's had decent, and Deshaun Watson. I think a lot of Deshaun Watson's problems this year is he can't stay in the pocket. He's being flushed out constantly, and he doesn't have time to go through his progressions. Now, I understand he's got other problems, but that is definitely one of his problems. But as far as going to the Bills, they've got Keon Coleman, they've got Khalil Shakir as the receivers, and Curtis Samuel. So they don't have a true number one, and now with the Cooper trade, they do.
He can hang on to the ball there. We'll see if that happens. But yeah, he can be a number one. I read somewhere that they need a slot receiver too, so I don't know who's going to play slot for them. But
Khalil Shakir is playing slot
Sure.
for them right now.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel is his backup.
Mm,
And then the other guy's a rookie as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Coleman's a rookie as well. Not now that they've gotten rid of Diggs.
yeah. I honestly, I do not care that Cooper is gone, and it's not because of the drop passes.
Okay.
It's not at all. I think there were some locker room issues between maybe him and Deshaun Watson. There's so many scenarios that this issue could be and why he's gone today. I'm not one of those guys that thinks these players aren't playing because of Deshaun Watson. I think Amari's time is just up.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah.
And I
So,
hope that
well,
makes
I do know that
sense.
I do know in recent weeks, Andrew Berry has gotten a lot of calls for Cooper. Cooper was in his final year of his 5-year deal. And the fact that Cleveland had converted the majority of his $20 million base salary into a signing bonus, it really made him more attractive as a trade candidate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you win some, you lose some. And that's obviously the Browns this year, losing a lot.
yeah.
And you can't blame it on just one wide receiver. I don't think that it's going to turn on a switch and things are going to immediately start happening. The morale of this team right now is shot. And that missed catch by Amari last week in the first drive was a morale killer. You had the ball in your hands. We witnessed that. You had it in your hands. It would have been a first down. You would have kept the drive going. But no, he dropped it, and that was the end of that drive.
Well, he led the league in drops with 9.
Yeah.
Yep.
10.
10 now after that. But he's had a history of drops too if you look back at his numbers. But it's shown that it kind of improved throughout the years, but now this year he seems to. Now you see a lot of people on the Facebook and X earlier like, oh, he didn't want to be here, that's why he was dropping passes. It's like, come on, players don't purposely drop passes despite the team. They actually want to play good because they want their trade value or whatever, their money, their bonuses, or whatever they have in their contract to hit. So I think you can't say that they're just conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, 17% of all passes thrown to Amari Cooper was a drop.
That's high, man. That's for a number one receiver that you plan and you scheme around, you scheme for, and you're like, okay, we're gonna get Cooper this ball at this moment at this time, and you drop the ball 70% of the time. That's rough, man. It's either that or we'll get into it later. That or those penalties. They break you, and they're the reason why you're 1-5 right now. Missed opportunity.
Yeah. And he really hasn't had a great game this year. Against the Giants, he had 86 yards on 12 catches. On 7 catches. But, other than that, he just doesn't look focused in games. He looks like he can't wait for the final gun to sound so that he can get out of there. He just doesn't look focused at all.
Guru says Amari Cooper was quoted as saying he liked Joe Flacco because he had a great touch on the ball. I wonder what he thinks about Watson.
Yeah, well, him and Flacco were gold together.
Yeah,
and I don't mind. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about this. I don't know if I want to say about Baker and Flacco, way to go, or should I say, did we not know?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We're not going to.
I'm on the fence. Like I'm not mad at. I mean, specifically Baker because he's starting and doing good things in Tampa. And I saw something on Amazon Prime. Eli Manning has a show where he dressed up as a fan and it made me think, man, this guy is a good guy. And it made me, for the first time since he's left, I'm like, dang it, we should have kept him. Type of mentality. But then I shook it off. I'm like, slap myself in the face. I'm like, get over it, But it makes you. I don't know. I think it's one of those things that it's just meant to be. I don't think he would have worked out here for some reason, whether it was him and coach or him and just the situation, fate just caused it not to work out. And he's in a better place for it and good for him. Flacco, I think the story behind that, my personal opinion, is Kevin wanted him. They said no. Kevin doesn't have control of the roster, so he had to go. That's just me being a fan, a fan theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what's
Oh, he
And
froze.
the Browns
Oh.
hostage?
What is holding the Browns
know.
hostage?
Uh, Deshaun's contract holding the Browns hostage this year. They're going to pay him $92 million this year, $46 million the next year, 46 the next. You can't bring in a guy and keep a guy like Flacco because he's going to want 15, 20, 25 million. You can't pay Watson 46 million to sit on the bench and Flacco 30 million to start. You just can't
afford it. Yeah.
and plus plus another thing is you're admitting that the contract in the trade was a big mistake, and I don't think anybody in the Browns can ever come up and say, yes, we made a mistake. But if you look at it, when Baker got hurt and he had a shoulder injury, if they had stopped his season, got him help, got him surgery, brought him back healthy the next day, he would still be playing for the Browns. And not only that, we'd still have our 3 first-round picks, all those other picks, because look at the Houston Texans. They had won 4 games when we traded for Deshaun. Now they won their division last year. Well, why? Because they're using our picks and their picks to parlay picks on every draft day, and they have just killed it and brought in people. Now they're good, and at the same time, the Browns are bad. Doesn't that make sense? If we don't have 3 years worth of first-round picks and all these other picks, that we would go to pot, and the Texans would become newsworthy again.
Yeah. In order for that trade to work, you'd had to hit on those later picks, and that's the downfall of Barry right now. Is what making him look bad. Those second, third, and fourth round picks. You were hoping to find a gem, and you haven't. You haven't found it at all. You have players that are in legal troubles that can't play. You have players who Ika come, for instance. He hasn't even showed up. He's a third round pick. It's like,
oh, they cut him today.
Yeah, they cut him today. So it's like that's all. Yeah, like you shake your head, like, man, if you would have just at least found 1, maybe 2 impactful players in the later rounds, then it would be a different story. But the fact that you haven't, it just carries on the horrible trade aspect of Watson.
Another thing is people don't realize is we only got Amari Cooper for a 5th round pick. This trade term right now is we got a 2025 3rd round pick, a 2026 7th round pick. They get Amari Cooper and a 2025 6th round pick that they received from Detroit. Yeah. So that's that in a nutshell, and I think that's why I'm not so mad about it, because it's not a bad trade overall, especially since we got to start working on our line again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm accepting of this whole situation that's going on right now, and it kind of hit me in the stomach earlier. I'm sure it did to everybody, because it's Amari Cooper. Like, the guy, the last 2 years had spectacular seasons for us, and this year everybody kind of fell out of love with him. So it's kind of like a hit in the stomach. But
yeah, well, you fall out of love when somebody doesn't have production. 250 yards for 5 games is nothing. Last year he had 1,250, and more than that, he had 128 targets. He was definitely our playmaker, and now there is no playmaker. Is Jerry Jeudy going to step up? I don't know. I haven't seen anything from him. I didn't see anything from him when he was with the Broncos. When they traded for him, I went, okay, whatever. When they gave him that huge extension, I went, what? You're paying him for what?
I haven't even seen him in a Browns uniform yet.
To be marginal. 758 yards last year, and you're paying him all that money to gain 758 yards and 1 touchdown? Really?
Yeah.
So I can't see Jerry Jeudy taking Amari Cooper's place and being a superstar. I just can't.
Do you
Amari Cooper had 5 Pro Bowls.
do you think they saw his numbers and said they were a mess last year, meaning Denver, and he still got 700 plus yards? If he comes here with Watson, who's a better quarterback, ideally at the time, than Wilson, he'll produce more.
They must, because when they traded for Deshaun Watson, Watson was the passing yards leader, almost 5,000 yards, and they traded for him. So they must have said, well, if he can do that for a 4-win team, what do you think he can do for us?
Yeah.
So
you got to remember, though, that was after a year of sitting out.
A year of sitting out. But I do know that the Deshaun Watson, I know that Jimmy Haslam and D. Haslam signed off on it, but it was Andrew Berry who wanted him. And it was Kevin Stefanski who just sided with Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry was the catalyst for Deshaun Watson coming to the Browns. He wanted him. He went after him. He talked the Haslams into him. He talked Stefanski into that. That's where it all came from.
So do you think that Barry talked him into that guaranteed contract, or did Haslam say, well, we need a quarterback, so let me get the quarterback you want by overpaying?
I don't think anybody's going to ever know where that came from. But if I'm guessing, I'm going to say that Deshaun's agent threw that out casually to see if it would stick, and then it grew and it had legs. Because, Deshaun Watson was traded to the Miami Dolphins in that offseason. They traded for him. There was a stipulation from the owner that he had to get rid of all the issues with all those women. And he didn't. And then the Miami Dolphins, Stephen Ross, the owner, said, nope, we're gonna end this. We're not gonna follow through on it because you didn't follow through and take care of business. But he was going to be a Miami Dolphin.
And that guy is patting himself on the back right now for not taking Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. And instead he drafted a quarterback that's always hurt.
Yeah.
So what a question, not to get up too far off topic, but
all right.
As far as play calling, they brought in Ken Dorsey to do this collaborative effort. Who do you place more? I don't want to use the word blame, but I'm going to use it here. Blame on as far as how this offense is looking. The reason why I'm asking is because I personally don't put the full blame on Kevin, because you see all these people saying fire Kevin for his play calling. It sucks. But his play calling wasn't as this horrible until Ken mixed in some of his ideas. Like, he was a pretty good play caller up to this point. And then you see this stagnant, this weird stuff, this non-running the ball as much system. So my take is, like, people are saying fire Kevin, his play calling sucks. I would say, well, you have to fire the issue is not Kevin, it's Ken. Would you agree, or am I far off on that?
Well, I think that there's a two-headed monster involved in that. Look what happened when Bill Callahan left. We had the number 3 offensive line, and now we lead the league in sacks. Getting our quarterback sacked. The line is a mess, and you can't have an offense. The offense does what the offensive line does. As long as the offensive line takes you there, the offense will succeed. When they don't, interceptions go up, sacks on your quarterback go up, rushing yards go down, passing yards go down, quarterback rating goes down, receivers don't get 100 yards. Well, all of that is happening right now.
Yeah.
Every single bit of that has happened because our offensive line isn't doing their job. It's jailbreak on 5 of 7 plays.
Yeah.
Deshaun is constantly being flushed out, and he sometimes he scrambles, but he's still looking to throw. But until we can get the offensive line settled, what are we on? Our fourth center now, our third center?
Third, yeah.
Third.
I'm going to get to
Yeah,
that
well,
here
fourth.
shortly.
Luke Weipler was hurt, so we're on our fourth center now, and he's not even a center. I think he played a little bit of center in high
Guard.
school.
It's
Michael
guard.
Dunn,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's been it. So we still don't have tackle situations where we got a rookie playing at right guard who's doing the best he can, but he's not coming through. I mean, Carter with the Eagles last week just decimated him. He never did figure out what to do with it, and you can't have your tackle come off and double team a guy because he's got his own man to worry about. So as far as play calling goes, I was hoping that they would eventually get Bill Musgrave into the play calling situation. He's a good play caller. Ken Dorsey, I think they had issues in Buffalo, and the issues in Buffalo just got transferred to Cleveland.
Yeah, because if you put up the same type of issues in Buffalo and here, they mirror each other. Lack of run, struggling quarterback. Now the line does. You do have a point. The line does stink, so that has a lot to do with it. And you go as far as your line goes, but it's been putrid, man. It's like unwatchable. I was like, you know what? I'm about to shut this game off at halftime. But what saved me was Miles. I'm like, oh wow, they're back in this game. Then you come in at the second half and you do a jet sweep on 3rd and 1
Yeah.
to Tillman, who hasn't touched the ball since he dropped the ball in
Right.
the 4th down situation. And I'm thinking, I'm done. I shut it off and I was like, time to do homework,
Yeah.
kids.
We're going to get to that.
I tell you, an excellent article to read is to go on to dogsbynature.com and scroll down till you see one that is labeled Brown's offense is unwatchable. It's by writer Thomas Moore. It is an incredible analogy of what's really going on with this Browns offense. It tells you step by step of where the Browns are rated as far as total yards, estimated points per drive. It just goes on and on. It's an excellent, excellent read. Dogsbynature.com.
Check them out there on everything. Barry, I know it's time, buddy, but is there any closing thoughts? And you got to get to your idiom.
I who knows what's going to happen this year? I think as far as wins go, I think if they win 4, 5, 6 games, because if you look at the schedule, teams we thought they should have beaten, like the Giants and the Raiders, who are very bad teams, we struggled against it. I don't know who's going to take Cooper's place. I really don't.
I don't either.
Let me give you my football idiom. I'm going to tell you where the term down came from. So the beginnings, American football came from rugby, and rugby came from soccer. So a lot of things that soccer did or rugby did, American football just adopted. So when you say something like a center or a goal line or a punt or a tackle, those are all soccer terms. But the word down, where that came from, originally there were no downs in yardage to be made in American football. The inventor of American football was Walter Camp. We all know that. What he did is he gave each team possession and 15 plays to score. Then if they didn't score, the other team would get possession and 15 plays to score. Well, it was too much that they couldn't score at all. So he changed the system in American football to make it at 3 downs to make 5 yards. And once you made 5 yards, you got a new set of downs. And after the required yardage was met, well, Camp called each play a down because the player with the ball was required to place the ball down immediately after each play.
That makes
There
all
you
the
go.
sense in the world.
The More You Know by Barry Shuck.
Yeah, his football idioms are amazing, and I might just have him write one for us like weekly. That might be a good idea.
It might be. Just tag him on it.
Barry, thank you for joining us, everybody.
Yeah.
Make sure you check them out at Dogs by Nature. Always a great read. Barry, you got to keep that beard groomed too, buddy, because you're going to be back.
Yeah.
So,
I got one question for you.
yes, sir.
What do you do with the flea? What do you do with the fleas?
You just ignore them.
Yeah, you have to get beard balm like this and just beard butter. You just they come out eventually.
That is not a sponsor, by the way.
No, it's not. They should be though.
Absolutely. I enjoyed myself. Y'all have a great week.
Thank you. You as
Thanks,
well, Barry.
Barry.
See you soon, buddy. Thank you. Oh,
Hey
here's
guys, it's
Chad's.
Dr. Chad. I'm here at a
Here's
Neurocritical
Chad's
Society
take. Yeah, get
conference.
Chad's take. Chad sent a
And I
video,
just wanted to take a
and
quick
he wants to
second
give
to
his
jump
take.
in on this Amari Cooper trade. Wow, was I way off on this? I thought for sure there was no way we were trading Cooper because I thought for sure there was no way we were getting more than a fifth or sixth back from him. I guess congratulations on Andrew Berry's random Hail Mary to get a third rounder back, but realistically, I think we're kind of looking at a situation where now what do we even think? Like, are they done? Are they giving up? Are they just like, we might as well see our kids play receiver and see what we've got on this team? More will come out for sure on this, but I just wanted to jump in on that because I am blown away. If I'm wrong on plenty of things, I would have not bet that this would have been one of them.
Well, there's Chad, and his beard seems to be coming in pretty decent again.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's at that convention with the beard.
There was a comment on YouTube that I wanted to touch base with Angel from Christopher
ahead.
Hartman. He said, with Watson at the helm, Stefanski's play calling is far more difficult. Watson is too dumb to audible. Last week's game, I seen
audibled.
Deshaun Watson audible
Yeah,
a couple times, and I was kind of excited because it's not a normal thing, but he did it. I think he's starting to maybe take matters into his own hands.
there's something I heard that while he was in Houston, what's that coach? Shoot, I forgot the coach. Did cover for him a lot because he did have trouble audibling out of plays, and he covered for him a lot. So that scares me. I don't like using the word dumb because I think shouldn't be calling him dumb, but maybe he just doesn't process as fast as a quarterback, and maybe that was his struggles, and maybe his troubles is just gonna follow him here, man. I don't know, man. We'll see. Like Barry said, we're gonna see who is gonna take his place, meaning meaning Cooper. I have more faith in Judy than he does. I think Judy's gonna be a good number one.
So do I.
I do have questions about Moore. Who's going to be the number two? Njoku could be a good number two, number one. If he stays healthy. I guess when I saw the trading this year, I was excited because I thought to myself, yes, they're giving up. I was like, this is what they should do. They should be trading some assets, getting some draft picks. Because they're not a good team. This is who they are. What we've seen these last 6 games is just who they are. We're not going to get away from it. We're going to have offensive line issues because of the injuries that could be consistent. Matter of fact, as it gets deeper into the season, we're going to have more injuries to players. It's just how it is. It's just how it happens, unfortunately.
Mark says we have good young receivers. Yes, we do. It's utilizing them correctly. It seems to be the issue. We watched it last year as well, and that's what sucks, man. You sit there and you watch these receivers blow up last year and do well with Flacco. I gather that, but again, Flacco will not be back here. I promise you that. It wasn't a perfect season by any means. We made it to the playoffs and we got blown out by trades that we made. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So you have to literally. I don't know what is going on in that locker room. I don't know what's going on with the front office. I don't know what's going on with Is it Deshaun Watson saying, I want this, I want that? Is it Barry saying, no, I'm going to give you this. This is what you're going to have, and this is what you're going to work with? What is you're going to like this comment. Burley Sullivan on YouTube says, Ewers to Cleveland. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you need to have Flacco here. I think you need to have a quarterback that's like Flacco. And in this draft, you're going to have multiple options if you're high enough to pick a quarterback like Flacco. And you have a perk of you can play Watson while the line is bad while you're fixing the line.
Yeah.
You know what? You owe him that money anyway. So why not just play him? Be miserable for the next 2 years, accumulate draft pick, accumulate access, accumulate people, good players, build around this new quarterback that you can possibly get, and just be good again. I just don't. I'm past this Watson. I'm done.
What you can do.
They're not going to trade Myles Garrett. Let's talk about this real quick. Why would they trade their best player on both sides of the ball right now?
Somebody just texted me that Myles Garrett's gone tomorrow.
No, he's not. If they do that, the locker room is you're done. That no one's going to want to play for you. No one's going to want to have heart. That he is the heart. I understand. It's like saying trade Nick Chubb. Like, would you trade Nick Chubb right now? If Nick Chubb, I mean, you wouldn't trade him right now anyways. Even if he was good and healthy and running the ball, you wouldn't trade your best player on offense. Doesn't make sense. It all started from this Chris Canty guy on ESPN. He made a suggestion. Now everyone's like, oh yeah, trade Myles Garrett and get draft picks. No. Myles Garrett is a generational defensive player.
For the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, and he's invested in the community. And he's invested into the basketball team, the Cavaliers, he's part owner. So why would you want to get rid of the very thing fans always ask for in a player? It doesn't make sense to me.
It's anything to stir up drama. That's how this fan base is. Kind of sucks. You guys had zero concern last year until the playoffs, and then boom, Deshaun Watson comes back, and boom, now there's a problem. And I'm not going to say that Deshaun Watson's – I'm not going to defend the guy at all because obviously he's playing completely horrible right now.
Yeah.
But in the same line, you gotta take into consideration that they're going to play this guy that they pay this money to. And what I think is going to happen, they're going to play him throughout this year. I don't hope the guy gets hurt like a lot of people do. You play the guy, let him show how shitty he really is as a player, and then bench him. Make him a third string quarterback that's making $230 million in his contract. Or you could trade him, make him a third string receiver, third string quarterback for somebody else. If somebody else wants him and think that they could maybe play him like he's supposed to be played, just like Amari Cooper right now.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to trade for him. I don't think they'll trade him. I think they're going to ride it till the wheels fall off. This organization's too stubborn to admit that they're wrong, or that it won't work until maybe the last year of his contract, and then they'll do something, unfortunately. And I agree with you. It's not just on Watson. Watson is an issue. But you also, like Barry said, you have an offensive line that is probably the worst offensive line in the league. They're hurt. They're injured. You have a friggin' guard playing center. I mean, you're horrible. He has no time. He's running into his offensive lineman, getting sacked. He's trying to find the open guy. Your receivers aren't getting open quick enough. I mean, your receivers are dropping balls. You're getting behind the sticks anyways, because every time he does do a good play, what happens? Either you see the yellow, you see the yellow flags everywhere.
You see this?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I talked about this. 72 or 27 pre-snap penalties. 27. You lead the league in pre-snap penalties. I mean, you can't sit there and place the blame on one player. You can't place the blame on Kevin. Kevin's play calling, yes, a 31 sweep to Tillman. He does that 2 or 3 times a game where you just sit there and like, why do you do that? It's so weird.
Right.
But the benefit of it is like 97% of the time he gets it right. It's weird. It's something you have to deal with. Also, Kevin is handcuffed, man. thoroughly convinced he's handcuffed. He's playing Watson. Maybe he wants Watson. Maybe he's saying, "Hey, he's my guy," because they're not going to give me anybody else. Maybe the fact that he thinks there's no one better because there's really no one better. Maybe Jameis will do just the same as Watson in
Yeah.
his system. Especially, maybe the issue, they know what the issue is. It's the offensive line. So
Oh,
they
yeah.
say, yeah, he may be struggling, but if we put anybody in here, they're going to do the same thing because this line's not giving him any kind of protection at all.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to do the good, bad, and the ugly?
Let's do it.
I'll. You know what? I'll do the good. You do the bad. I'll do the ugly.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So the good for myself was that I did see some signs of improvement in this game. The offensive line wasn't completely horrible. It was bad, but it was not completely shot.
Yeah.
That was my biggest thing. Other than that, that's really the only good. We almost scored more than 20 points. Nah, not really.
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, we haven't even came close because actually, technically, the defense scored 6 of that.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can give a good. I think the only good of that whole game was that Miles. The fact that he hasn't given up yet. He jumped a mid lineman with a leg and a half. The bad, man, yeah, the bad. It has to be the offense right now. It's just, it's just bad. There's no word for it. There's no other noun, adjective, word, whatever you want to put in there. It's just horrible looking. 15.9, 15.3 points a game, averaging. They have not passed for 200 yards all year. They haven't even scored 20 points all year. It is just the worst offense in the league. And I think this is going to be a trend. As a matter of fact, the bad every week is going to just be offense.
Yeah, I agree. The ugly was the offensive series, and it was the last one. Just like the Ohio State Buckeyes, the last series for both teams this weekend, for teams that we love, were completely horrendous. Horrible play calling, horrible players, period. The game could have been won. This game should have been won. It's the Eagles are in shambles just like us. Like they're from going.
The Eagles are a bad team.
Right.
Bad. And we did not look good at all against a bad team.
Yes, Gregory and both Grew on YouTube. Corey Bajorquez, that's the MVP the last 4 games.
Sam said a dumpster on Facebook. Sam said a dumpster company would be the only one that would comes to mind when it comes to picking up Watson. Yeah, you just have to. Hopefully, I mean, I don't want to get help. Hopefully, you just write it out, see what happens, get a high draft pick, see what Barry can do with that. I don't think you should mess around until you see what Barry can do with the earlier picks.
And not Barry that was on the show earlier, Andrew Barry, just to clarify.
Barry might be Barry, but that Barry might be better than the Barry we have in our front office right now.
I'm going to have to agree with that
statement. He seems to be smart.
100% agree. That game definitely pissed off a lot of Clevelanders that weekend, last weekend. Another thing I did like was the rushing game actually kind of showed up. It sucked to see Jerome Ford go down, and I think that's an ankle injury. Excuse me. But the running game still showed up. That was crucial, and that's why I gave some more to the offensive line this week, because they were actually getting out there, and it wasn't just right, left, and up the center. They were kind of scrambling around. If we ever throw another jet sweep, if we ever hand off another jet sweep, though, I might throw myself out the nearest window.
Yeah, to anybody. It doesn't have to be. It could be anybody. If you do that, I'm done. Like that was probably. And why are we bringing in Jameis? They're going to know what it is.
But that's why we try to throw him off with the jet sweep.
It didn't work. The guy called it. He pointed it out. He's called it. You saw the guy, the right guard, the right edge was like, hey. He's pointing right at Tillman the whole time. They called it. Yeah. Horrible, man. Horrible.
while it was good to see Njoku back and blocking, I did see him have a couple good blocks. I think they're kind of treading lightly with him for now, just to make sure he's 100%, and I'm okay with that. It's impactful though. It is very impactful to see that guy back on the field. I'm not going to say that teams aren't afraid of him. Maybe they are, but he is impactful. That one part where he did that little bump and run and gained the first down, I think it got called back on a penalty again, but still, those are things that need to be worked on with this team. Penalties kill you. Penalties, 100 yards a game is a free touchdown every single time.
Yeah.
Change my mind. Fight me. I don't care. It's 100 yards worth of penalties, which we did bring down this week.
Yeah, but they're second in the league with 50 penalties called on.
Well, the biggest bummer of it all is when you get into the red zone or you have a good play.
Yeah, and in the red zone, our offense in the red zone is ranked number 3. They're 77% in the league. They're great in the red zone. The problem is, like you said,
Penalties.
when we get in there, we're scooting back. And by the way, we're 1 penalty away or 2 penalties away from being number 1 in the league. Houston leads the league with 51 penalties called on them. Insane. I mean, and that your average down on third down is 39. Your 3rd and 9 is your like. How many play calls? Like Kevin and Ken are coming together. Like, all right, we're going to have 50, 39 play calls in the play sheet because that's just our team this year. We're going like you can't scheme up too many things that are 3rd and 9 to trick a defense every week. It's impossible, man.
3rd and 12, you bust off a 4-yard run because that's about what we were averaging.
Yeah, matter of fact, since 2018, the Browns are the second most penalty yards per game since 2018, with 57 yards per game in penalties. And they are just a tad bit behind the number 1 spot because the Jets are number 1 with 57.96 per game.
Yeah.
Undisciplined since 2018. And we're seeing it now. It's just ridiculous. It's the penalties, man.
Yep, Gregor just said it. We can't seem to convert third downs and be disciplined. And we talked about in previous shows where we were last year disciplined.
One of the best third down teams on offense in the league. We're at least top 15, and that gets you wins. Yep. And you were against the 20. I did this. I probably forgot to write it down. No, I did. Look at that. Philadelphia was at the time last week was ranked 27. I haven't looked to see what they're ranked now. Washington, at the time, when they played us, their defense was ranked 27. You want to know what they're ranked now before the Ravens game? They're ranked 13th. They went from 27th, played us, and they jumped up to 13 against Vegas. Vegas was ranked 25th before they played us. After us, before the Steelers game, they were ranked 16th.
That's kind of embarrassing.
Your defenses are getting better after they play you. I don't understand it. It's so bizarre how this is like you go into Cincinnati, they're ranked 25th, 23rd right now. You're thinking, oh, we should be able. Their secondary sucks. No, we're most likely going to lose by 3 points.
Yeah,
and we're at home.
Yeah, it sucked. The only thing I'll give the Browns is the Eagles haven't scored at all in the first quarter this year at all, not once.
And they held it.
We held them. We held them to that at least. I mean,
yes.
you take what you can, I guess. I mean, that's a win in my book.
A win's a win.
I don't know.
Win's a win. A win is a win. Yes. Mark, what's up, Adam? You said evening, Jets. Cleveland has a football team? Question mark. Yes. Yes. And right now they don't have a baseball team because they seem not to want to play these last 2 games. They're down 2-0 in the second inning.
Oh, I just clicked over to that. We're in New York, though, man. New York's tough. Cold, windy.
That field is short, small, so those players can hit.
Just like my Browns fandom.
Yeah, James did say the Eagles got their star receivers back, but they still didn't look good. That's what I'm saying. Like they were beatable. If you were able to play what we've been saying since the beginning of the year, average football. If you would have played average, you would have beat them because you would have been up by at least you up them one because that blocked field goal.
And you think that would bring morale back up, man? You
And
think
you know
the
what
team
killed
would
it?
come out
The
like,
3rd-and-1 sweep play killed the morale.
yeah,
As soon
thank
as
you.
they
Thank
saw
you for
that play,
reminding me.
soon as they gave the ball to Tillman, there's like, oh, we're done. Yeah, we're done. We can't do this, dude. Just go back and it's in the notes probably. Like Chubb maybe coming back. They haven't confirmed it yet, but Nick Chubb is not going to run the ball 30 times against Cincinnati.
Oh, absolutely
He's
not. They're not. He's not going to. I don't think that guy's going to get see 20 snaps. To be honest.
Yeah,
You've seen him
they're
come off
gonna-
an injury before, and he wasn't playing as much. And this is,
I would say 10 to 15 max.
yeah, at most.
Yeah.
James Frank says, "Screw New York," and he's from Jersey, so I
So
like it.
is he a Mets guy? If you're from Jersey, are you a New York Mets guy or?
Ooh, good question.
Good question. Yeah. Who's the number one receiver? Judy. Yes, Adam. Njoku's a tight end, so he can't be a receiver unless you convert him over. And Barkley, Barkley only had 47 rushing yards.
Yeah, the defense. I'm not mad at the defense for the last game. They actually did show up, so that could have been another part of the good. We should have actually added that. The defense showed up, but again, you gave up 2 big passes that led to touchdowns.
That stems from the fact that they probably and what happens late in the game, they're exhausted because the offense are going 3 and out, and they're just exhausted. They've been running for 80 hours out there trying to keep you close to the game. They're doing everything they can to hold them to a field goal or stop them from scoring, and the offense can't move the ball for nothing.
Yeah.
Derek says on Facebook, I believe we will win Sunday 24-7. We haven't scored 20 points. We haven't even scored 16 points, and he just said we're going to score 24 points. How is that possible, Derek? You haven't scored 24 points.
Here's the thing, too. You got to think that they put up a really good fight against Baltimore. This is an AFC North Division rivalry that we're going into. At home, of course, but he is 1-5 against the Browns, Joe Burrow?
Yeah. Miles seems to have his number.
Oh, no, Miles is getting traded tomorrow, so we're not going to have to worry about him.
Yeah, he's not even going to play Sunday. Miles and Newsome. I do believe if you would ask me who's next, I would say Zadarius Smith. I think Detroit would be a good pick because they need another pass rusher since Hutchinson's down. Not that he pass rushes. Sometimes he does that. I wonder if he's even playing. And Newsome, because I think Kansas City can use a corner. Not that I think Newsome is horrible. Again, he did have a catch caught on him from A.J. Brown. But again, you've been running with A.J. Brown for 30 hours and he's just exhausted. And A.J. Brown did a good catch. It was over the shoulder. I mean, he was
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame Newsome for that.
Adam says 8 Hopkins field goals. James says...
Yeah, you're right. That's how we get 24. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
We're playing Cincinnati. We own them. Myles Garrett owns Burrow. 24 points, nothing but field goals. Hopkins' leg falls off at the end.
So now that we're getting a feel of the fans, if we lose this game, what's going to happen? Because a lot of fans feel like, hey, we're at home. We beat Cincy all the time. It's going to happen. Miles is going to take it over and da-da-da. If we end up losing 24-10, what are fans going to do?
What they're doing right now. Still just be mad and follow us.
Still listen to the podcast on Tuesdays at 7:30.
Sam says Browns win 19-10 and still don't hit 20 points.
Yeah. That would be classic Cleveland. Yeah,
it would be.
Market the defense will score a running game. Who's going to run the ball, Derek?
Nick Chubb.
Ford might not play. He has a hammy, so he's going to be strong and.
Pierre Strong showed up last week. I cannot wait to see more of that guy out there running.
Yeah,
Britt says I might punch a kitten if the Browns lose.
Punch a kitten. That's not right.
No, it's
Kitten,
not. Why?
puppy.
I should start reading these before I say them.
No, it is funny though. We don't promote that, but if you want to say it, then hey,
Yeah.
you get it.
And then for all you Jets fans, Devontae Adams is going back to the Jets to reunite with his man friend.
prima donna quarterback. And you want to talk like people are just weird when it comes to the athletes. Like Aaron Rodgers he's the most annoying quarterback for me in the league ever. He sits there, calls out his receiver for running the wrong route. He said, "Oh, the reason why I threw a pick is because Mike Williams ran the wrong route." People don't say anything.
No, you
I
let that
think
go.
they let it go. How does he get away with this stuff, man? He is weird and quirky to begin with, and then he gets the quarterback the receiver that he wants the whole time.
James says the closest thing a Bengal tiger Mike can get a hold of is a cat. Fuck kitten.
We're in the top 3 drinking fan bases. That might be true.
Yes, we are. Angel, come on, the bourbon nights, man.
It's going to be a long, long season, man. I had hope for a second after that block, but right when that jet sweep happened and it was 3rd and 1 and it turned into 4th and 3, I'm like, it's done. There's nothing that's going to save the season. Like, it was ridiculous.
Drew, apathy is worse than anger. If you are angry, you care. A loss to Cincy will see people quitting on the season and end the team. I don't think people are going to quit on a team. I seen somebody earlier comment on one of our things that says, I'm going to become a Baltimore Ravens fan. I'm like, wow,
That's
dude.
wrong.
You're going to go that low?
Yeah, I would be a Cincy fan before I'd be a Raven.
Absolutely.
Just for proximity, because it's Ohio.
I'll go back to being a Tennessee Titans fan from when we lost the Browns. I don't care. I'm not going to be – there's no way I'm going to become a Baltimore Ravens fan, even though half their team is on my fantasy team. Adam, let's not talk about fantasy. I think he's actually beating me right now. Never mind.
Derek Reynolds on Facebook said, funny thing was that Watson was getting it going toward the end. And that's true. He was, 12 of 13 in the second half-ish? It's just that first half that killed him, man. He was 48 yards total, and he's 2 for 11. It was bizarre. And it's weird to see that, he just, for a whole half, he just does nothing. And then the second half, he's throwing. I mean, mind you, he's probably only averaging 3 yards a pass, so they're checkdowns, but
yeah,
it's good to see him at least make a read.
Adam says if the Bengals win, is Mike's kid grounded if he talks shit? He's already grounded, so we're good. James, I would be a Lions fan. You know what? Honestly, they're probably my third favorite team. So, man,
yeah,
tread lightly. Tread lightly with that Michigan fandom over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be a Lions fan. Their coach is easy to root for. He has a lot of passion.
I think
have a little more faith in what? Derek said, have a little more faith, boys. It's like Watson needs to be punched in the face to get playing. If that was the case, man, he would have been playing after the Dallas game because he was getting punched in the face a lot.
Yeah, how many times has he been sacked? Enough to consider that a punch in the face.
Yeah,
a punch to the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't have faith. It's I'm a realist. I can see that, and it's not. Again, we've said this many times. We've said this since game 1. It's not on Watson. It's everything. It's a collective effort of losing. It's like you have a front office that hasn't made good picks, which shows on the field of talent.
3-0 Yankees.
Yeah, you have your offensive line that just dismantled. No one can stay healthy, and when they are healthy, they go down, and then you have to switch everything around again for the first time. It's just sad, man.
For all you that are reading the comments, my buddy Britt says I'm from Michigan. I'm not. I'm actually born in Toledo. I was born in Toledo. Never a Michigan fan. Never was born in Michigan. So
it was on the border. You were born on the border of Toledo, but
5 minutes.
They took you into Michigan to get checked in the hospital.
No, they didn't do that either.
That's the rumor. That's the rumor.
Nope. The only time I go to Michigan now is for work. That's it.
That's it.
Oh, and concerts, actually. Yeah. But let's end this. let's end this now, man. We're gonna do our Saturday show.
Yeah.
We're gonna do some research and figure out what we could possibly do to win this game.
Score more than 20 points. Or
According to
score 20.
Sam, we're getting 19.
Let's score 20. Let's start there and then work our way up. We'll start small and work our way big. It's like the snowball effect. See what happens. The issue is after this, you run into some hard defenses, man. So if you can't get it going with these bad defenses, these Baltimore's coming, Pittsburgh's coming, it's gonna be rough.
I'm not scared. I'm not playing on the field, but I'm not scared. But yeah, everybody that's watching, like, subscribe, share, YouTube especially, share it, man. Just get us out there.
Shout out to our sponsors.
Doug White, Allstate Insurance Agency, and CB Excavating.
Yeah, thank you, Barry, from Dogs by Nature coming on. 7 field goals. Got it. Brett.
Yeah,
21. All right. Well, we'll see you guys Saturday.
Yeah, we will have a fun-filled show on Saturday. Probably drinking a bunch of bourbon on Friday. So imagine me and Angel and myself to be a little under the weather. No, I'm kidding.